Hello! It has been a really long time since I did my last video, but there's been plenty of reason for that. Working mostly, some family things, but all in all, it's just been real busy. I am really excited about the fact that in 1 week from today, I will be 40. I try not to make a face when I say that, but it's 40. It's big. It's maybe midlife. Hopefully I can go a little longer. We'll see. But what I consider it is it's my next level. So I'm leveling up in a week, and there are some things that I, as a pseudo adult, would like some help with. I have been an archivist for almost 9 years. In October, I will have started, it was 9 years ago in October that I started working for the photographer Scott Hyde, and he is my everything when it comes to preservation and taking care of a collection. I absolutely love what I get to do in order to make sure that his photographs and his material, his process material, is saved and is going to be useful to future generations. In doing so, I was also introduced to the fact that I absolutely love the archival process. I was originally training to be an archaeologist when I graduated from Texas Tech, and it's essentially the same job. Requires the same patience, the same attention to detail. There's far fewer bugs. The air conditioning is fantastic. Although waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to the trench by 6 before it's blazing hot is a feeling I do miss. But for now, this is perfect. I also have the privilege, the chance, the opportunity to do my own project at home, and I've done it for several years, but recently I've become a great deal more concerted in my efforts, and I'm making them available for the public online. So once these objects that I've acquired is a project called the Archivist at Large, I want people to use this material, to share the material, to find out more about who they are, connect to humanity, to be just more aware of what has gone on in the past. And what I do, real simple, I go to thrift stores, antique stores, estate sales, and I look around to find those things that people often discard when they don't know what to do with them, but they seem important. Things like photographs, letters, journals, postcards, those things have value, but it's hard to put a financial price on them unless you're on eBay. And then it's real easy and it's high. That being said, I have thus far done a pretty good job of being able to support the effort on my own, and I pick up things here and there. Recently, I've been able to acquire some larger collections, and I've also acquired some objects that are unique enough that they need their own housing. And as I enter my next level, I would love for some folks who are interested in the same thing to join me and help me make that happen. So I have some objects that I would like to show you to give you an idea of what I do, but we will start with what I've done, and that way you know where a lot of this sort of thing is going to. So if you come to my home and you say you want to see some of the pictures in the Archivist at Large collection, you will be, number one, probably sad you asked because I will tell you all about them, but number two, delighted because you get to flip through the books without worrying about really damaging any of the material, because I have them in such a way that you can look at them, get up and close and personal with them and not worry about damaging them. So what I do with these photos, letters, postcards, when they are digitized, I put them on in usually their own little pages. And so things like this has the information of where I got it, what's on the back, if there was a price, how much I paid for it, where I picked it up, or where they got it, if I got it secondhand. And so all of this information is like a tiny thread, and that thread runs through and over and under and around other threads that eventually lead us to the enormous tapestry that is history itself. And that's why I find so amazing about these little objects, is that they're pieces of people, they're pieces of humanity, they're pieces of evidence to the lives that have gone before us. And so you can get so much from things like this. Apparel, you can see facial expressions, haircuts. What were people taking pictures of? There's a lot of pictures with people with their dogs just held up in the air. So apparently we haven't changed much. But these books are great for holding on to small images and keeping track of different places that I've acquired, especially photos. But recently I've been more and more interested, and see, this is even more special. This is tintype printed on metal. It's fantastic. All in archivally safe protectors on archival paper with archival corners. My goal is to make sure that these things last far longer than me. But the thing that I've been most interested in lately is the ability to find and transcribe letters that come from people, because number one, cursive seems to be a bit of a foreign language. It's tough to read, and even with all of the years that I have been reading cursive and handwritten material, I still have trouble. And to someone who doesn't have a lot of time, or they're just not familiar with script writing, it's a challenge. And I want to remove that barrier in order to make sure people can view these objects and get their content and understand significance, if there is any. Sometimes it's just fun to hear and see the contents, but I want to make it accessible to everyone, because, well, that's what history should be. So recently I have acquired some new stuff, but don't have all of the places I need to store them. That's where you come in, helping me by kicking in some to the cause, helping me level up and joining me on my level, really. It would mean the world to me if I can make sure to preserve these objects in a way that is consistent with our standards for our practice, and again, so it outlasts me. And one of the very cool things that I've gotten recently, very exciting, is something that won't fit in one of these binders. I've got a binder back here that I'm working on. I've got this one that's pretty much full. I need archival material or archival material storage containers, boxes. And this is the thing that I need it for, especially right now. And there are some larger paper pieces, but this guy is the thing that I'm most excited about. So postcards are fantastic, even when they're kind of silly. But these are leather, and on top of that, they are actually stitched together like a quilt. So these 18 postcards, isn't that cool? These 18 postcards were addressed to Miss Adrienne Brown of Clarendon, Texas. And I found these in a thrift store, or not a thrift store really, an antique store here in Amarillo, Texas. And I knew that I wasn't gonna find another one. I had never seen anything like this. I have 2 leather postcards from another collection, but I knew that I would never see another set stitched together this way. If I do, well, you could bet I'm gonna buy that one as well. But I need a place for it to store, flat, not folded. Until then it lives in its own little envelope. But things like that are extremely important, and they will definitely help in preserving this material for future generations far beyond me. So another, few things that I'm really excited about. We've got, I have a ton of photographs and a letter in here. This particular drawer has a collection that I'd gotten from Antiques, a place in Amarillo, a great little antique store. She's in 6th. Go see her. She's fantastic. Don't buy the pictures. They're mine. No, I'm kidding. Buy the pictures, but don't make art out of them, or document them first at the very least. Got a couple guys in hula skirts getting ready to go paint the town red, I guess. The cool thing about photos is it gives us a lot of visual context, but it doesn't give us the same information that we would with a letter or with a postcard even. It doesn't give us a time or a date unless somebody has taken the time to write on the back of them, which they don't usually. So with the realization that photos are really cool and I love them more than I should, and I can't really stop buying them. I'm trying. Not hard, but I'm trying. I am leaning now more toward correspondence, and especially the correspondence of soldiers who were deployed. So World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam. I probably will not be getting into any of the Desert Storm conflicts unless they come to me willingly. And there's the reason for that is because I have sort of a benchmark, because if I don't have a benchmark, everything is chaos. So I try to archive things that are older than I am. And if everybody can do math, which I have challenged sometimes I have a hard time with that myself. Being 40 next week, that means I was born in 81. So anything prior to 1981 is fair game as far as archival material. I try to go 50s and earlier, largely because a lot of this material is at risk. It's either at risk for deterioration, it's at risk for just its destruction, the loss. Whenever you hear of letters being just abandoned somewhere, or they don't know who it belongs to, and so they toss letters, or they pass on documents to individuals. I did mention eBay, and although there is a conflict there, it's also a place that I do go to find material, largely because they have a lot that is pertinent to what I'm trying to help develop, and I'm really afraid of where these letters and postcards and photos wind up. It's tough to think about the fact that people's lives are literally being destroyed for a second time when their personal writings or their personal information, their contribution to the tangible world is destroyed or discarded. And that it breaks my heart. It makes me sad. It also motivates me to do this faster and to get it out there and to be an advocate, to share with others what I'm doing in hopes that somebody else does it with me. So I encourage everyone to become their own archivist as well. And here's an example. Just one of these letters from the pile from the eBay set. So this tells us so much more than a couple of guys in their hula skirts would. This tells us who it's from, who it's to. Richard Floyd. He's in the U.S. Navy. This letter was postmarked July 14th, 1943. It was addressed to a Mr. R.W. Hawkins in Iuka, Illinois. And inside, you could tell a lot about people, how they open their mail. The short end, the long end. Does it look like they've opened it with a chainsaw? Does it look like it wasn't ever opened at all? It's just, it's fantastic. There's so much to be learned. So we have a postcard from this guy who didn't write anything on the back, so it's largely souvenir for the CEBs. We build and fight with all our might, United States Naval Construction Battalions. He's a very menacing looking bee. And he's written CB at the top of his little note, July 13th, 1943. And this is why I do what I do. Seeing a person's tale, their story, in tangible objects is what makes me so excited, because it means the past isn't gone forever, that there's still secrets to be told, and there's so much to learn about our past and those who have come before us. It says, Dear Grandma and Pa, how are you all? Thanks for the letter. Sure enjoyed it. Guess what I am now? A second-class seaman. Sure made me glad. Maybe you can read my writing. I can't think of very much to say, and say it sure is hard work from morning to night. How is everybody at home? How is Perry's family? Tell him I got a promotion. Write soon. Sure enjoy it. Just had a piece of cake from a bunkmate. Sure was good. Well, have to quit now. Write soon. Your grandson, Philip Floyd. P.S. Take care of yourself, Grandma and Pa, because I love you both. Just a young man who made sure that he knew, or that made sure that his loved ones knew he was all right at the time. 1943 had to have been scary, especially for young people going off. This is actually the third letter mentioning cake that they've been sent, that I've read lately. There was another collection that had a couple of letters talking about having been sent cake, and they were very appreciative. Apparently that's how you make friends, is you have your relatives send you food. But this is what's important. This is what makes me tick, and this is what I've been doing for a while. All of these things will be available online as soon as I can make that happen. And I want to be able to preserve this material as best to my ability. And I'd love some support if you can manage. If not, if financial is not the way you would like to support, but you'd still like to pitch into the effort, I'm definitely going to need some help transcribing. So if you can read handwriting, let me know. I will send you high quality PDFs or images of these things, and you can help me transcribe, and that'll help get these things online faster. By the end of the year, I would like to be able to have several dozen, if not 100 or more. I would love to have more than 100. I mean, I'd love to have most of the letters and postcards that I currently have put online. It just takes time, and it takes space, and it takes storage, and I could use some help with that. But I hope that you enjoyed my little update and my passion project, and I'd love for you to join me on my ride as I go to my next level, which is exciting and scary at the same time. Yeah, I hope everybody does everything that they are passionate about, because it sure makes life a lot more interesting. So have a great time whenever you watch this, day, night, week, month, year. I hope it's a good rest of whatever. And I appreciate you watching this rambly video about me and my passion crusade to save as much history as I can on my own, and now with your help. Thanks, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful level of your own.